Welcome, everybody. This is Serpentine451, and welcome back to another episode of Weeb Warriors. Now, joining me, as always, is my good friend Jordan. How you doing tonight, Jordan?
I'm hanging in there, Tony.
Well, first things first, folks. Let me just say that we're just going to continue the order that we did last week, but there's going to be a slight problem with that. With some wonky thing on Amazon Prime, episode 4 of Pet. Let me see if I remember it. A Trap for Hayashi. It apparently is not showing that it is subtitled. It is just the raw video there. It's nothing. Since I can't read to understand what the hell is going on, other than like getting contextual clues, I won't know the full details. So when actual subtitles come about, I will actually do my review for that next week. However, what I can talk about is Nekopara episode 3, which is primarily focused on the interactions with Mint, which is my pet name for the new Neko, at the Minaduki house with Shigure and the other cat girls. How she is just so silent, and where she just disappears as if from nowhere and just reappears at a different place. Just not really speaking or paying any attention to the Shigure or the Nekos. But when Shigure brings out a box of toys at one point that the Nekos played with when they were younger, Mint found one that Shigure mentioned that Chocolate played with, which ignited this notion like, oh, it's that big cat girl that took care of me, that found me in the park, so I'm gonna go to her because I really like this toy and I want to be with her now. And this also, we have the interactions with Azuki, Coconut, Maple, and Cinnamon, where they tried to interact with her, trying to be good cat girls, like inviting her to tea, trying to play with her, or just doing various different things. But she ends up getting lost in the episode at some point towards the end, and she was able to be found by Chakla, who learned of her vanishing from the house and ends up returning to the park that she and Chakla first met. So Chakla made this big appeal to Kasho, or as Jay would like to call him, Master Nut.
I can't.
Sometimes I can't either. But he ends up caving and saying, yeah, I can't really say no to all y'all. Yeah, she's welcome to stay at the house, but you gotta take care of her. And this is when we actually get to hear Mint speak. Because for the most part, since she's been introduced, she was nothing but a silent character. And so I'm really looking forward to what this show has to offer still. It's not, like I said last week, it's not the pinnacle of groundbreaking quality, but it's a bit of wholesomeness that I desperately need from a terrible work week and trying to reacclimate myself to my medication. So, wholesomeness is a good thing. But enough of the wholesomeness, let us get to some degeneracy.
Right, so we have on the docket the next episode of Interspecies Reviewers, whose name, no, there's no English translation on Wikipedia. I'm sorry, gender swap sex means less suck you girl choices, and it kind of hurts, but you learn just what girls feel, so you should give it a try. Right, so the men get it in their mind that it would be interesting to know what it feels like to have sex as a woman. that goes about as well as you would imagine that it would.
So, essentially, it's much like what Jordan said, but in a tad bit more detail, they decide, you know what? I want to know how women feel after hearing a conversation between other adventurers. Mostly it's from this lizard man who a lot of these characters make fun of because he's a virgin, yet he's very insightful in some situations. All I see is, oh, this man's trying to get some premium monster girl pussy, but he can't. But that's besides the point. So they thought, oh, let's turn to girls so we can understand how women feel. They go to a shop where they get their genders swapped. And this shop is connected to a brothel that will let the men actually, who are turned into women, actually experience sex as a woman with other suck-you girls. Because, and this is the stupidest thing, but it's the most hilarious thing, because it makes sense.
Does it, Tony?
Well, the shop owner expressly says not to leave the room that she shoves them in because of some things that most dudes who turn to girls have done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I would put those protections in place, but also I wouldn't have this establishment exist. But, you know, hey, who am I?
Yeah, and everybody, as their female counterparts, decide to get it on with a few suck-you girls. We have
we see another elf, a slime girl, a halfling, and a halfling sadist. Let me amend that.
Mm-hmm.
And a hyena girl.
Yeah, I think a hyena girl, and it's
also has a penis.
That's because hyenas, as animals, both males and females have penises. It's one of the weirdest facts that I knew about, because animals are fucking weird, okay? And this is one of the few episodes that actually just black out the screen with a caption saying, oh, this shit's too lewd for you. Let's just turn away for a moment. I'm thinking, holy fucking shit. Most degenerates really want to see that. But this...
Yeah, honestly, I found those scenes to be weirdly censored, given the subject matter of this series and what we have seen up to this point. Is this some sort of strange lesbian censorship in which everything's suddenly not okay to see? Or is the content just that much more graphic that we have these weird cut to black?
It's safe to assume maybe, well, I think the nature of each of these is more on the realms of being a hentai in that sense, because some of the dialogue in those parts they blacked out are, what's the word I'm looking for, Jordan?
I'm not sure.
Explicit.
Sure. I mean, it was fairly explicit, if that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
This whole thing is explicit.
This is true. And, maybe they didn't want to, they wanted to just play it safe and not try to show those scenes, even though they have to do, like, face zoom-ins or some shit. They felt less inclined to do that, so they decided, well, let's just black out the entire screen. Because, you know, we ain't making a hentai here. Which, hell's bells, this should have been.
Hey, but honestly, so that's pretty much the gist of it. Everyone has, the human male has a bad time. The halfling has an okay time. The elf has a great time having all of their various orifices penetrated by a slime girl. And Krim, now being fully female, has a great time having sex with the hyena woman, who I just learned, fun fact, hyenas appear to have both sets of genitalia, but it's more like a pseudo-penis. But moving right along, that's not the important part here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
And Krim has a good time, but now everyone thinks that he is what they call a rainbow boy, which is an incubus, which is another term for an incubus boy that will have sex with both genders. So everyone is just presuming that Krim is fine having sex with men and women, but Krim was always packing both, so it's sort of like meh.
You know, most people don't... Well, I like to think that a lot of these characters are idiots. And Krem, being the sort of shy person that they are, he can't really say those things and just be more upfront about it. So that's where the misunderstanding is. And that's that amuses me greatly. The fuck? Never mind. So, next up is My Hero, correct?
Yes, up next is My Hero, episode number 78, Smoldering Flames. So, in this episode, we deal with the aftermath of the encounter, or I guess the aftermath of the overhaul arc, and a few things happen. Midoriya talks to Lemillion and is encouraged to continue being a hero. He also tries to offer up his one for all, which Lemillion denies, believing in the future that Night Eye saw when he looked at him for the last time, which was touching, and I hope that Night Eye wasn't just blowing smoke, and that, Lemillion actually has a bright future after him, because I think he's actually a pretty good hero.
Mm-hmm.
Eri is still asleep.
Yep.
And the League of Villains is starting up on that new shit.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, did you want to speak about the League of Villains' actions in the second half of this episode?
Well, they're mostly just really pushing forward with Shigaraki's evolution as a character, but this is the primary focus of the episode, where Gran Torino and the detective, who's friends with All Might, actually come across Kurogiri. And Kurogiri was waiting for someone that was closely related to All for One, that being Gigantomachia. And Gigantomachia almost killed Gran Torino and the detective. They barely got out of there alive. They had to run and grab Kurogiri too. All for the purpose of having Shigaraki evolve as a villain. Because he is technically now the successor to All for One as the world's greatest villain.
Well, I guess he's the successor of All for One, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The use of that term in this series is a little confusing, because obviously he did not inherit All for One, because it's not a transmissible power.
It's the
like
villain.
All for All.
It's the villain.
Right.
It's the villain name.
Yeah. I'm with you. I had to sort that out for a second. I was like, what? We can do that?
Well, in the manga, he went through they're doing a time skip, and he's getting a upgrade to make him even stronger.
Let's not talk about manga events. Let's focus exclusively on what is happening in the anime.
True. But I can tell you about, the nuttiness that's going on right now.
Afterward. But any last thoughts on Smoldering Flames?
One thing I can say is that I like how what the repercussions of what Shigaraki did to Overhaul in the previous episode was looked at as a bit of a failure on the police and how everything was handled. A lot of the destruction of the area and all this stuff.
Although there wasn't that much destruction in the area, all told, because Midoriya is so aware of what he's doing. Honestly, I was a little bit shocked when they pointed it out because it happened so organically in the episode that it's not immediately apparent that Midoriya is being conservative with all of that nonsense going on.
Very
and I
true.
think that's very important. I think that's one of the things that we really sort of overlook with a lot of these sort of superhero shonen series is that these people exist in a world, in a society where things don't just occur via magic, and if you destroy the city saving people, people could be injured, houses are lost, livelihoods are damaged, businesses are ruined, such and such, and these all things have associated costs. But Midoriya is a true-to-form hero, and he's always thinking about these things, even when his life is on the line. I think that's one of his strongest qualities as a hero.
And I'm really looking forward to the next episode where we have Bakugo and Todoroki actually go through their license exam. Because some parts of the episode were small scenes were dedicated to just Bakugo and Todoroki interacting with each other, and how they also interact with the wind dude. I know the last part of his name is Arashi, which is Storm. Yarashi, I think is his name, and Kami. So I'm really looking forward to that. Well, now let's go to the utter shenaniganery that is Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, episode 17?
Yes. So, episode 17, Run Iruma to Kiryu, deals with a few things. So, first things first, I guess Sullivan becomes immediately aware that their barriers have been erected around the school, although nothing really comes of that. Iruma recognizes the barriers as Kiryu's and begins to orchestrate a plan with Clarla and I can't think of his name, Osmodius, to track down Kiryu using Clara's ability to make any item that she's ever determined, in this case, the magic soldiers that she saw in the magical apparatus club room, and then gets supercharged by Osmodius' magic. So they sort of build a map. Also, Asmodeus draws really clean, straight lines and circles freehand, and I hate him.
Well, he is portrayed as this very perfect character.
Right, but also I hate him. But move right along. And so that happens. But while this is all occurring, Eggy Sensei
yes.
is trying to rally the school, right? So he uses stupidly powerful magic to break through the barriers, although he finds them to be self-repairing, and then orchestrates the teachers to bring everyone to the central courtyard and to remain calm and then sets up this grand conspiracy that this is all a game established by the game battler and the new magic battler, as while the broadcast battler or AV battler tries to communicate with the outside world to no avail.
And I just like that one of the teachers has this capability of just summoning frogs to use as reconnaissance. That is hilarious to me. And it's something that Asmodeus actually pointed out when they put together the paper soldiers. It was the same teacher that fawns over Eggy Sensei. Because when she first saw his familiar form, she was like, that is the cutest thing ever. Then the last bits of the episode was Kiryu actually activating the device, which is, we get its full name, it's the School Destroyer.
Right, I wouldn't say activating because it definitely seems as though it needs to charge. Also, are you getting a suicide vibe from this plan?
Yeah, it's
Because it's just like, that's an explosive ordinance that you have there, with
yeah,
no means of launching it since you left that outside. So, what are you planning on doing there, buddy?
yeah, homie. What are you doing?
Let's talk about it, huh?
It's like, I know you were picked on quite a bit, but still, you have much to live for in life.
Honestly, I don't know what it is that, I don't know where it is that what it is that happened to Kiryu to bring him to this point, but I feel as though it's probably not worthy of blowing up a bunch of innocent kids.
Yeah,
Just a guess.
yeah,
Just a guess.
I'm guessing that too, because we get to find out a little bit of that in next week's episode.
Right. I definitely think that Ball's just manipulating him to undermine the authority and power of Sullivan so that he can make the jump up to Yod and try to vie for being Demon King. Because
Yeah,
he thinks that, I think he knows that Sullivan is going to be the one that would most likely take over, or he has simultaneous plans to deal with the other two of the big three.
yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking too. Or it could be something that's so remarkably stupid. Like, oh, I just wanted to see how strong I am. I wanted to fuck things up. But ultimately, I get dunked on myself. Or something really lame and stupid like that. Very anticlimactic, since this is supposed to be first and foremost a comedy show. Oh, and one of the funniest scenes that I gotta say from this episode in particular, Jordan.
Mm.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Eiko, the demon girl that apparently has this she just falls in love with whomever saves her from impending doom. Because not only does she have a crush on Iruma, but now, thanks to Imeri saving her, she has a crush on her now too. It's like, god damn it.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly think this girl just falls. She's like the suspension bridge effect taken to the absolute maximum.
Yes. Yes. Fucking finally. That I realized that while I was watching the episode, I'm thinking, this bitch will fall in love with anybody that saves her from anything.
Right. I mean, hey, what is there to do?
I mean, Mary is a badass. She kicks the shit out of walls. Don't want to mess with her. But let's actually get to now. On our Discord server, you called Sally a queen. So let's get to that.
Sally. We talk about my girl, Sally. Alright, so this is episode of 3 Bow Fury Defense and reaching second level, and once fucking again, I remember why I fucking love this gosh damn series. So we start off with Sally and Maple reviewing the latest update announcement for the game that they are playing, of which I don't even actually know the name.
I think it's New World Online.
Right, so super basic.
Yeah.
Update for New World Online, and they have released what I will now be calling the maple syrup nerfs, which are expressly intended to nerf Maple and counteract her fucking ridiculous showing in the first public event.
And she was
When
so
you
sad about it.
when you are so fucking broken that the next nerf has updates exclusively dedicated to you,
Yeah.
then you've just taken the fucking cake. You're just fucking amazing.
Yeah, you're so strong that you just don't give a fuck anymore.
Nope, nope, nope. Uh, but moving past that, they go into the worlds and they do some light conversation about how they wanted to. Uh, they do some light conversation at a cafe where they learn about the next event from the second and
Fifth.
loser, second place and loser of the first public event, Dread and Drag, respectively, who then inform them about a quest in the forest, dropping some casual sexism along the way. And what they do is that they go to this area that is haunted by ghosts and spirits and undead of various types, and they find a man in a basement, bound up by his hands and his feet, and he's wailing in pain.
And he's blindfolded too.
Blindfolded, I forgot about that. Sally heals him using all of her MP and completes the mission. Apparently, the mission was just to allow this man to pass on gently into the afterlife. He was a ghost, and it earned Sally the super speed skill, which I am absolutely dying to see in use.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
An
that was
additional interesting point about this game is that players obtain or buy skills, which is not your typical RPG fashion. Oftentimes what you do is when you obligate yourself into a class structure, you
have set class skills or a skill
but
tree.
there seems to be a combination of your basic class set and then some list of generalized skills which people can obtain, and then it seems as though the new event is going to have, we'll get to that in a minute actually, but the new event seems to also have some unique opportunities for skill acquisition. But after they obtain the super speed skill, they end their adventuring for the day, but the next day they come and they head to level 2 because they have already gained access to it from beating the dungeon boss from episode 2.
Right.
And they go and fight against a deer boss. And good googly moogly schmoogly, that battle was clean.
Oh, it was pretty clean. Our girl
When
Sally.
Maple gets knocked unconscious, I was like, oh, well, this will be interesting. Then I remembered, oh shit, it's motherfucking Sally, the queen. She was in there like swimwear. She was back at it like crack addicts. It was fantastic. And her weapons. Oh my god, those are the cleanest of weapons. Good googly moogly.
God damn.
But I do have one point of contention.
And what is that, Jordan?
She hasn't done a damn bit of swashbuckling.
Yeah, her class may be the swashbuckler, but I didn't see any like fun rope shit.
Like, I don't know what I would call her exactly, but it ain't a swashbuckler. That wouldn't be the word I would. If I saw what she did, those wouldn't be the words that would come to mind.
No. I would say she's like a combination of like thief with a little bit of battle mage or some shit.
She's like a rogue magus.
Yes, thank you.
She's almost like I'm sure that there's a Pathfinder archetype for magus that gives you rogue-like abilities, but that's essentially what I'm imagining here in this moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And I think one of the most beautifully animated moments in this episode is where they go to this event and they actually have a nice dinner together where They drink wine from the fucking sky, and they eat just these blobs of food that taste apparently like apples, oranges, and strawberries.
Strawberries, apples, and oranges at the same time, yes.
And it fucks with their eyes and hair. And I just think just the layout of the scene itself, beautifully shot, and with the added effects to the character models, it just looked seamless. Much like the fight scene with the deer boss. Seamless. And also, might I add, Maple has acquired a new shield. So she doesn't have to rely on her Devour skill as much, since she only has 10 uses of that skill a day. And
I mean, 10 uses is actually a pretty lax
yeah, that
thing,
is true.
all considered.
Oh, very true. But what I'm saying here is the name of her new shield. It's so basic, but
Snow White.
Yeah, Snow White. It works for Maple, but it's a very basic name, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. So I want her armor to match her shield, but I understand why she got it because her black shield is Devour, and she obviously has a limited number of uses on that, so it makes good sense to be conservative with it.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Yeah, having mismatched equipment is just not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't scratch that itch for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm. But let's actually get to Plunderer, episode 3, and that episode is called Uniforms Are Uniforms. Lord Jesus.
Oh God. I don't know. So I don't know much about how to explain this.
I think I'll give it a shot here.
I can't think of her name off. So for one, the episode is more funny than anything else.
Yes.
It doesn't really advance the plot at all until the very end.
Definitely.
And the character, while interesting to an extent, is kind of forgettable. I don't know what her name is.
It's Lynn. It's Lynn.
See, honestly, Tony, you could have said anything in that moment. You could have literally said anything in that moment, and I would have just been, yeah, that sounds right.
I would have burped and you would thought it would have been the same thing. But anyway, we have these two officers watching over a small town. Lynn, the girl in this pair, is just this overly energetic girl saying, I'm going to help everybody, because that's what soldiers do. And her compatriots like, yeah, helping people raises your count, but you have to help them when they're really in need, or when you're needed, or some other nonsense. And just to really make this review even shorter, it's basically Licht and this male officer just really fucking with Lynn. Just really pushing her to her limits, because she hasn't had any experience in actually going on a date with a man.
Honestly, I mean, I know we give a pass to a lot of things that happen in these shows, but really this was an extended experience into like sexual harassment.
Oh yeah, this blatant sexual harassment. And even at the end of it, it was like, good lord, woman, you're saying that You're attracted to a guy who clearly you didn't want to be around. You almost beat his ass. Well, attempt to beat his ass. And you're saying that you want to fuck him, have his kids, and have him be a stay-at-home dad.
I mean, he did disappear immediately after that.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, girl, calm your roll. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Oh my god. So, let's hope that, well, I think we could talk more about the end of the episode, which is more plot relevant stuff.
Right. So at the end of the episode, I can't remember any of their names. All of them are
gone. I know Nana. Oh, it's Nana and Hina.
Right. So at the end, Nana is approached by the general, lieutenant.
Yeah.
A high-ranking military officer who is inquiring about Lick's whereabouts. Of course, she lies. He says he doesn't like liars. She then lies about the direction he's traveling in, and he uses some strange earth spell, magic, metal magic, I don't know, to destroy her restaurant, and then leaves to go hunt down Lick. And really, that's the core of the actual plot-relevant elements of the show.
Yep, and that's pretty much it.
Right. I mean, I think Plunderer still has potential, but if they do like this one, I'm good.
Yeah, it was interesting at first, but we'll see where this leads for sure. So, Jordan, I actually want to try something a little bit more different than our usual towards the end of our episodes here. So, and this was just inspired by you just saying that Sally is queen. And I want you to get, well, you already said a little bit of it during the review for Bufuri. I want you to just get on your soapbox and just say why other people should just look to this character and say, ah, yes, that is a queen right there.
Right, so I like Sally for a few things. For one, she comes in, she's introduced to us as the inciting character for Maple's journey into the world. And obviously the show is primarily focused on Maple, given its name. But even as a side character, she has these opportunities to shine and really showcase her own unique approach to things and the way that she is capable of acting on her own and having her own strengths that also complement Maple's when the opportunity presents itself. She is a nuanced character. She's not simply the friend or the skilled gamer, but she has fears and strengths and weaknesses. She's excited about things. She enjoys the world. She feels genuine, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
But when the time comes, also she makes good decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't just be like, yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and fly off off the handle and do all this other random shit because I'm a skilled gamer. I can take shortcuts. No, we spend time watching her grind up her swimming and diving level, surveying the underground dungeon, making sure that she has a deep, sufficient awareness of the boss. And then even when the tables are turned, we can see her adapt to the situation, use her skills effectively. And I think that just goes to show how well written of a character is. And beyond that, she's a badass.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's very fair. And I'm just... It came to me that you've never really talked about a character this much in like the time that you brought this show up to me until now. It just...
Well, I thought that I didn't know if it was going to be a one-off because I was really impressed with 2, and then she turned around and impressed me again in episode 3. So
Right.
I just decided to give her the quality of queen. That's another thing with these series, fantasy, isekai, however you want to do it. A lot of times characters are presented in a very nice light in their, I guess, their introduction focus episode, but then they become very generic and underwhelming throughout the rest of it.
Right. And it's kind of the problem with a lot of shows with ensemble casts. Some characters tend to fall on the wayside, but what Bufuri is trying to do, from what I can see, is just really letting the other characters have their moments to shine in the spotlight and actually provide the traits that make them unique. Because we got to meet a little bit more characters, but I can agree with you that Sally is the best. She really knows her shit. And plus, you can't go wrong with a girl who has some flaws, like being afraid of ghosts. Not a big thing. Not a big thing. But, folks, we will leave that for another time. So, I hope you guys join us next week for another set of reviews. Hopefully, I will watch episode 4 of Pet to actually understand what the fuck is going on. But I'm looking forward to the reviews, and if you have any last words, Jordan, make sure you state them. Until then, folks, we will catch you next time.
Okay, catch you next time.
Oh, shut the fuck up, stupid computer.